The CarPlay address that wasn't home. The night my dashboard told the truth at 9:18 p.m., my dashboard decided to be honest. I plugged in my phone and the CarPlay screen bloomed into icons I barely use, podcasts I pretend to listen to, maps I swear by until I don't. A list slid across the top, recent destinations. The first three I recognized: work gym, the grocery store where the avocados think they're famous. The fourth I didn't. Loft 609. No street name, just a pin near the river, the kind of label you add when you don't want to be literal in case someone looks over your shoulder. I touched the pin. The map tightened its grip on the city and revealed the address like a confession. 415 Mercer, warehouse conversion, 6th floor. The estimated time shivered into place, 12 minutes if the lights were polite. I stared at the screen long enough to fog up my own reflection. Anna had left an hour earlier for wine with the team. She waved a bottle of something pale like a hall pass and kissed me with a distracted mouth, the kiss you give a dog when you tell it to stay. The corkscrew was still on the counter like evidence of good intentions. My phone buzzed with a text from her. "Don't wait up if we get chatty." There was a heart emoji I hadn't earned today. I could have turned the key and gone to the grocery store for real or back to the couch where a game I didn't care about was playing to an audience of me. Instead, I pressed go and let the voice in the dash tell me where my life might be hiding. City lights performed their usual rituals. A cyclist cut across the lane like a thin argument. The radio tried to sell me a softer evening. I turned it down. I told myself one of the scripts men tell themselves when they want to be blameless. Maybe it's a client's place. Maybe 609 is a conference room with better chairs. Maybe M is a woman on her team who collects plants and gives them away like cigarettes. But I could feel the lie in the way my jaw set. I'm not a detective. I'm a man who doesn't want to be the last to know. Mercer turned out to be one of those streets the city tricks you with: industrial bones on the outside, new money on the inside. The warehouse had windows that believed in themselves and a lobby that smelled like limes trying to forget they were cleaners. A man at the desk looked up with the polite suspicion of someone paid to notice trouble in collared shirts. "Evening," he said. "Meeting a friend," I said, the lie everyone rehearses in middle school. "Loft 609. I let the numbers be casual as if they'd been mine for years. He glanced at a clipboard that probably knew more than I did. "Name?" "Daniel," I said. "Mother didn't wish for a spy. She wanted me to be an accountant. He didn't ask for a last name." He just pressed a button, and a buzz sounded from the direction of the gate that protected the elevators like a velvet rope. "Go ahead," he said. "Freight elevators faster this time of night." I thanked him as if this were normal, as if I didn't feel like I'd stepped into a story that needed me to be a villain or a saint, and I wasn't interested in auditions. The freight elevator was a square of metal big enough to move a couch or a person's certainty. I pressed 6 and watched the floor numbers blink like reluctant confessions. The corridor was quiet in the expensive way, good insulation and neighbors who consider shoe choices. Loft 609 had a black door with a tasteful brass number. I could hear music from inside, the kind of music that believes in bass and restraint. I raised my hand to knock and then lowered it because I didn't want to make the first sound. I wanted the night to tell on itself. The door opened before I decided. "Not because and I want to walk out of here with you while your legs are still shaking for the right reasons." She smiled, small and real. "I want you to want me out loud," she said. "I want domestic danger. I want to stop acting like competence is a personality, and I want to tell him this is over even if it never began." "Okay," I said. "Do you want me here while you say it?" "Yes," she said. "But by the elevator, not in the room. I want you near enough to be courage and far enough to not be a prize." I stood in the hallway where the art was all black and white photos of the building when it was honest about being tired. Mason came up the corridor carrying a bakery box like it weighed more than it did. He looked at me, then at Anna behind me, then back at me and stopped 2 steps away. "I like your wife," he said. It was not a taunt, it was an admission. "I do too," I said. "I'm going to keep liking her." "Good," he said. He didn't flinch. "Then this is where I bow out." He went in. I went farther down the hall for privacy I couldn't offer but wanted to. Voices murmured low and steady. At one point they both laughed, not at a joke, but at the relief that happens when everybody says the part out loud that hurts the most. The door opened. Anna stepped out with her coat. Mason followed with the box. "Take these," he said to me. "Sugar can't fix anything, but it often keeps people in the room long enough to try." I took the box because I am not above bribery, even if it's for staying with my own life. He held out his hand again. I shook it because there's no reason to be careless with dignity. He went back inside and closed the door gently, like the ending of a book you enjoyed more than you're willing to admit. We rode the freight elevator down in a square of silence that felt less like defeat and more like a pause between acts. The desk man glanced up and then away, professional mercy. Outside, the river tried its Paris trick again, and for once I didn't hate it for trying. In the car, I didn't start the engine. I tapped the CarPlay map and held my finger on the pin. A little box popped up. "Remove from recents." Anna watched my thumb. "Do it," she said. I did. The pin vanished. It didn't erase anything, but it made room on the screen. At home, we ate small cakes with big names and made tea we didn't need. We sat on the floor because chairs felt performative. She put her feet under my thigh and I leaned against the cabinet like a man who wanted to learn being ordinary again. We made a list on the back of a takeout menu because that's where our best plans end up. Thursdays sacred. Phones boring by choice. No permanent decisions after 10 p.m. Be loud. Dance class bad on purpose. Bookstore bench. Tell the truth before the coffee cools. She texted Mason while I watched the kettle not boil. "Thank you for the dinners and the songs. I'm going to be busy being married on Thursdays." She showed me the screen not as permission, but as proof of concept. He wrote back one sentence I respected him for. "Good choice." We weren't saints that night. We were careful and greedy and married. It would pass any platform's rules and all of ours. We kissed like we were interrupting ourselves for good reasons. We slept in the same bed and pretended it was a miracle so that it could be one. A week later, our therapist said, "Affairs are often infrastructure problems disguised as poetry," and I hated her and wrote it down. On Thursday, we stood in a community center gym under lights that didn't flatter and learned a box step from a woman with a whistle and an impatience that felt like love. I stepped on Anna's foot, and she laughed like a door closing on a bad idea. We went home sweaty and better than before. Sometimes my dashboard still offers me places I didn't ask for. A hardware store I never visit. A park I've only pretended to jog through. If a pin shows up with a letter and a number, I touch and hold and let it go. We are building newer recents, and I am trying to be the person my car believes I can become when I turn the wheel on purpose and drive toward my own house.